Romania. In the mid-19th century, the modern Romanian state emerged from the unification of the Danubian principalities of Wallachia and Moldavia. Though formerly Ottoman vassals, both enjoyed growing autonomy. In 1859, they both elected Alexandru Ioan Cuza as prince, creating a single government. Cuza introduced reforms, including land redistribution and secularization of church property. But his authoritarianism and conflicts with the nobility led to his abdication in 1866. He spent the rest of his life in exile in France, Austria, and Germany, where he died in 1873. He was replaced by Prince Karol of Hohenzollern-Sigmaringen, chosen with the approval of the great powers. Under his rule, the United Principalities officially became Romania. Karol modernized the army and administration, and in 1877 he joined Russia in the war against the Ottoman Empire. That same year, Romania declared its independence, which was recognized by the Congress of Berlin in 1878. In 1881, Karol crowned himself the first king of Romania. Romania intervened in the Second Balkan War of 1913, gaining southern Dobruja from Bulgaria. When World War I broke out the following year, King Karol I, which was closely related to the German Kaiser, favored the Central Powers, but public opinion and the political elite were firmly pro-Entente. After his death in 1914, he was succeeded by his nephew Ferdinand I, a mild and cautious ruler often overshadowed by his strong-willed, British-born wife, Queen Marie, who became the true driving force at court. Initially neutral, Romania joined the Entente in 1916, seeking to unite all Romanians under one crown. The campaign went disastrously at first. Most of the country was occupied, and Romania was forced to sign a separate peace with the Central Powers in 1918. Yet as the Entente triumphed later that year, Romania rejoined the war and emerged victorious. Romania was rewarded with vast new territories of Transylvania, Bessarabia, and Bukovina, fulfilling the long-held dream of Greater Romania. After Ferdinand's death in 1927, his grandson Michael I became king, since Ferdinand's son, Karol II, had previously abdicated due to personal scandals. As Michael was still a minor, a regency was established to govern in his place. Later, in 1930, Karol II returned from exile and reclaimed the throne, ending the regency and ruling as a flamboyant and controversial monarch, known for his playboy lifestyle, extravagance, and authoritarian tendencies. In 1940, Romania was forced to cede Bessarabia and northern Bukovina to the Soviet Union, northern Transylvania to Hungary, and southern Dobruja to Bulgaria, triggering a national crisis. Karol II abdicated in favor of his son Michael and went into exile, never returning to Romania while power was handed to Marshal Ion Antonescu as prime minister with near-dictatorial authority. Antonescu briefly allied with the fascist Iron Guard, a violent ultra-nationalist movement, before suppressing it and ruling as a military dictator. Under his leadership, Romania joined the Axis powers, invading the Soviet Union alongside Germany, and temporarily reclaiming its lost territories, even extending its control into parts of southern Ukraine, including Odessa. By 1944, with the Red Army advancing toward the country's borders, King Michael staged a coup, overthrowing Antonescu and switching sides to the Allies, an action widely credited with shortening World War II in Europe by 6 months. Despite his role in the Allied victory, Soviet occupation soon followed. In 1947, the communist regime forced Michael to abdicate and established Romanian People's Republic. He went into exile in Switzerland, where he lived quietly for the rest of his life and died in 2017. Hungary. In 1867, after Austria was defeated in the Austro-Prussian War, Hungarian leaders pushed for greater rights within the Austrian Empire. The resulting Austro-Hungarian Compromise created a dual monarchy, with the Kingdom of Hungary gaining broad internal autonomy, including its own parliament and government, while foreign policy, military, and finance remained shared under Emperor King Franz Joseph I of the House of Habsburg-Lorraine. Strengthened by this arrangement, Hungary modernized quickly, but the outbreak of World War I in 1914, when the dual monarchy attacked Serbia, placed unbearable strain on the entire empire. When Franz Joseph died in 1916, he was succeeded by his grandnephew Karl I, known in Hungary as King Karl IV. As defeat loomed, Karl attempted to save the empire by proposing a federal structure, granting equality to its many nationalities. Hungary rejected the plan, declaring the 1867 compromise void and effectively dissolving the union from its side. The post-war years brought chaos. In late 1918, the Hungarian People's Republic was formed under Mihály Károlyi, but his pacifist policy failed as neighboring states advanced into Hungarian territory. It was replaced in 1919 by the Hungarian Soviet Republic, led by Bela Kun, whose regime fell after a Romanian military intervention. Hungary then attempted to stabilize itself and restore the monarchy. In 1920, the Kingdom of Hungary was re-established, but without a king. The first provisional regent, Archduke Joseph August of Habsburg-Lorraine, was rejected by the Entente and neighboring states, who warned that any Habsburg restoration would be seen as an act of war. The National Assembly therefore chose well-respected Admiral Miklós Horthy, former chief of the Austro-Hungarian Navy, as regent. Later that year, the Treaty of Trianon stripped Hungary of two-thirds of its territory. It lost Slovakia and Carpathian Ruthenia to Czechoslovakia, Transylvania to Romania, Burgenland to Austria, and Croatia, Vojvodina, and other areas to the new kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes. These losses left Hungary landlocked and deeply reduced, famously turning Horthy into an admiral without a navy. In 1921, Karl made two attempts to reclaim the throne. The first was diplomatic, and the second one involved loyalist officers and units of the Hungarian army. Both failed due to internal resistance and fear of military intervention by its neighbors. Karl was detained by the British and exiled permanently to Portuguese island of Madeira, where he died in 1922. During the interwar period, Hungary pursued revisionist policies, aligning with fascist Italy and Nazi Germany. In 1938, the First Vienna Award returned southern Slovakia and southern Carpathian Ruthenia to Hungary. In 1939, Hungary annexed Carpathian Ruthenia following the disintegration of Czechoslovakia. The Second Vienna Award in 1940 restored northern Transylvania from Romania. And in 1941, Hungary joined the Axis invasion of Yugoslavia, annexing Vojvodina and a small border region, and later participated in the invasion of the Soviet Union. By 1944, with the Red Army advancing, Horthy tried to arrange an armistice. In response, Nazi Germany launched Operation Panzerfaust. SS commandos under Otto Skorzeny kidnapped Miklós Horthy Jr., rolled him in a carpet, and smuggled him to German custody. The Nazis demanded Horthy resign and hand power to the pro-Nazi Arrow Cross Party, or his son would be executed. Horthy complied, was removed from power, and placed under protective custody in Bavaria, while his son was sent to Dachau concentration camp, reuniting only once the war ended. Soviet occupation of Hungary soon followed, and in 1946, the monarchy was abolished and replaced by a republic. In 1949, the Hungarian People's Republic was established under communist control. Horthy was never tried at the Nuremberg trial, appearing only as a witness, and spent the rest of his life in exile in Portugal until his death in 1957. Bulgaria. For 5 centuries, Bulgaria was under Ottoman rule. Despite this, the dream of national revival endured, and it was finally realized in 1878 when the Russo-Turkish War ended with the Treaty of San Stefano, creating a large Bulgarian state. But the great powers feared its size and influence, and the Treaty of Berlin reduced it to an autonomous Principality of Bulgaria, while Eastern Rumelia remained under Ottoman control. In 1879, Bulgaria chose its first prince, Alexander I, from the House of Battenberg. His reign changed the country forever. In 1885, revolutionaries in Eastern Rumelia declared unification with Bulgaria. Alexander supported them, and despite short war with Serbia and Ottoman displeasure, Bulgaria emerged victorious. But Alexander's independence angered Russia. In 1886, a coup by pro-Russian officers forced him to abdicate. A counter-coup briefly restored him, but without Russian support, he could not rule. After issuing a farewell manifesto, he left Bulgaria and later served in the Austro-Hungarian army. He died in exile in Austria in 1893. To replace him, the great powers approved the new Prince Ferdinand I from the House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha as Bulgaria's new ruler. In 1908, taking advantage of Ottoman weakness, Ferdinand proclaimed full independence and crowned himself Tsar Ferdinand I. Bulgaria's ambitions soon reshaped the Balkans. In the First Balkan War of 1912, Bulgaria, Serbia, Greece, and Montenegro declared war on the Ottoman Empire and drove the Ottomans out of most of Europe. But disputes over Macedonia ignited the Second Balkan War in 1913. Bulgaria attacked Serbia and Greece, only to be struck from the north by Romania and from the east by the Ottoman Empire. Defeat cost Bulgaria large territories and left deep resentment. Seeking revenge, Bulgaria entered World War I on the side of the Central Powers. Bulgarian troops quickly occupied parts of Serbia, and later also Romanian Dobruja, territories Bulgaria had long claimed. But the early successes faded, and by 1918 the country's war effort collapsed. On the 3rd of October 1918, Ferdinand abdicated in favor of his son, Tsar Boris III, and went into exile. He spent the rest of his life in Germany and Austria, where he died in 1948. Boris ruled during one of the most turbulent eras. The Treaty of Neuilly imposed heavy territorial losses on Bulgaria, including Bulgaria's access to the Aegean Sea. During the interwar period, Bulgaria faced political extremism, coups, and economic hardship, gradually aligning with Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy to pursue territorial revision. In 1940, Bulgaria regained southern Dobruja from Romania through the Treaty of Craiova. In World War II, Bulgaria joined the Axis and recovered further lands, including parts of Thrace and Macedonia. Yet Boris resisted sending Bulgarian troops to the Eastern Front and blocked the deportation of Bulgaria's Jews from the country. In 1943, shortly after meeting Hitler, he died suddenly. The official cause was heart failure, but suspicions of poisoning by either Nazi or Soviet agents have persisted ever since. His heir, Tsar Simeon II, was only 6 years old, so a regency ruled in his name. In 1944, Soviet forces entered Bulgaria, and a communist coup followed. In 1946, a referendum abolished the monarchy, and Tsardom of Bulgaria became the People's Republic of Bulgaria. The royal family was forced into exile, first fleeing to Egypt and later settling in Spain, where Simeon grew up and lived for decades. After the fall of communism in 1989, Bulgaria became a republic, and Simeon was able to return to the country. In a historic twist, the former boy king won national elections in 2001 and served as Prime Minister of Bulgaria from 2001 to 2005. Portugal. For centuries, Portugal was ruled by the House of Braganza, which had governed since the 17th century and presided over a global empire stretching from Brazil to Africa and Asia. But by the late 19th century, the kingdom was in deep decline. The loss of Brazil in 1822 had dealt a severe blow, and the constant political struggles between monarchists and republicans left the country unstable. A major turning point came in 1890 when Britain issued the British ultimatum, demanding that Portugal abandon its plans to link its African colonies of Angola and Mozambique. Britain opposed this because it intended to build a continuous Cairo to Cape Town railway, and Portuguese control over the corridor would have conflicted with British imperial ambitions. Humiliated, the Portuguese government complied, and the ultimatum sparked a wave of national outrage. Many saw it as proof that the monarchy was weak, submissive, and incapable of protecting national interests. Facing mounting turmoil, King Carlos I attempted to restore order. In 1906, he appointed the authoritarian reformer João Franco as prime minister, giving him near-dictatorial power in hopes of stabilizing the country. Instead, Franco's repressive measures provoked even greater resistance. The king, already unpopular, became a symbol of national failure. Then, on the 1st of February 1908, tragedy struck. As the royal family returned to Lisbon, anarchist assassins opened fire at them. King Carlos was killed instantly, and his son and heir, Prince Louis Philip, died minutes later. Only the younger son, Manuel, survived. Overnight, an unprepared 18-year-old became King Manuel II. Manuel tried to calm the country by dismissing Franco and restoring more moderate constitutional government. But Republican agitation continued, divisions in parliament deepened, and the army's loyalty wavered. The monarchy was standing on its last legs. On the 5th of October 1910, a coordinated Republican revolt erupted in Lisbon. Army units and civilian supporters quickly seized control of key positions. The young king escaped to the royal palace of Mafra and then boarded a ship to exile in Britain, where he would live for the rest of his life. He died there in 1932, far from the throne he had briefly held, marking the end of the Braganza dynasty's rule in Portugal. The new republic that replaced it struggled with instability and coups. eventually giving way to the decades-long authoritarian rule of Antonio de Oliveira Salazar. Only after the Carnation Revolution of 1974 did Portugal finally become a stable democracy.